All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're diving into a claim that sounds, well, kinda unbelievable. We're talking about a powder, something that supposedly costs less than $1 that can wipe out every single termite in your walls. And get this, it's supposed to last forever, all without drilling a single hole.
I mean, that sounds way too good to be true, doesn't it? A permanent termite solution for $1? That's the big question we're tackling. We're digging into a source that doesn't just say, yes, it's possible, but claims that this simple solution has been actively and intentionally kept from us. So you gotta ask, why? Why would anyone want to bury a solution like that? Well, this number, it tells a big part of the story. $28.5 billion. That's how much the pest control industry pulls in every single year in the US alone. Now imagine what a permanent $1 fix would do to that kind of revenue stream. It's not just a threat, it's an existential one.
Okay, so that sets the stage for our first section. We're going to look at the story of what our source calls a forbidden termite killer. It's really a tale about a simple powder versus a huge, powerful industry. And the claims being made here are honestly pretty wild. The source says this stuff kills all the termites, you don't need any drilling, no tenting your house, no moving out for a few days. It supposedly soaks into the wood and just stays there forever. Oh, and get this, it's said to be half as toxic as table salt. So why isn't everyone using it? Well, the claim is that it's been restricted in dozens of countries just to keep the profits flowing for the big companies.
Okay, I know what you're thinking. This all sounds a little out there. But before you write it off, let's actually look at the history here. The argument is that this isn't some brand new miracle cure. It's more like a hidden weapon, backed by over a century of research that's just been forgotten or ignored.
So the timeline is actually pretty fascinating. It goes all the way back to 1702, but the real action starts in the 1930s. The US Navy had this huge problem. Termites were literally eating their wooden warships in tropical waters. So what they do? They came up with a special glycol-borate formula to protect the ships. It worked so well that by the 1940s, Australia actually made it a standard part of their building codes. It took a while, but it finally became available for regular folks in the US back in the 1980s.
So, what's the big deal? What makes this stuff so different from what the pros use today? Well, to understand that, we need to get into the science of it, specifically how it penetrates wood. This is why it claims to be a permanent fix.
The secret ingredient, the real game changer here, is something called glycol. You see, it's this thick liquid, and unlike water, it doesn't just wet the surface and then evaporate. Think of it like a straw. It uses something called capillary action to get pulled deep, deep inside the wood fibers, and it drags the actual termite killer, the borate, right in there with it. And this is where it gets really interesting. Look at this comparison. The glycol-borate stuff gets in there over 12 times deeper than a typical water-based treatment. That's a huge difference. One method is basically designed to be a permanent internal solution. The other, it's just a temporary barrier on the outside that breaks down after 5 or 10 years. And you know what that means, right? It means you're going to have to call them back.
And that right there, that's the heart of the conflict in this whole story. You've got a potential permanent fix on one side and an entire industry that, depends on customers coming back again and again on the other.
The source we're looking at puts it really bluntly. It's right here. A treatment that expires is a treatment that generates a callback and another huge invoice. The argument is simple. A treatment that doesn't last isn't a bug, it's a feature. It's the whole business model. Because hey, if you solve a problem forever, that customer never pays you again.
And just look at the difference in cost. This is a real-world example from the source material. A homeowner in Florida gets a quote for $4,300. Instead, he tries this DIY method. His cost? $47. The kicker? 2.5 years later, still no termites. That is a staggering difference. Okay, so you're probably wondering, how on earth do you do this without drilling holes everywhere? Let's get into the nitty-gritty, the actual DIY application method. And the whole trick is using the gaps that are already built into your house.
Yeah, the secret isn't about making new holes at all. It's about finding the ones that are already hiding in plain sight. I mean, think about it. Every electrical outlet has a small gap around the box. Every pipe that goes through a wall has a little opening. Even the space under your baseboards. Each one of those is like a secret doorway straight into the wall cavities, exactly where the termites are living.
And the process itself is described as being almost ridiculously simple. You just need one of those little bellows dusters, they're super cheap, and some pure boric acid powder. You pop off an electrical outlet cover, stick the nozzle in the gap, and just give it a few puffs.
That fine dust floats around inside the wall and settles on all the wood, creating a barrier that termites can't eat. Then you just go around and do the same thing in other spots, like in the attic or crawl space. So, when you step back and look at all this, it really boils down to a bigger idea, doesn't it? It's about knowledge versus the way things have always been done. It's about the power you can get from just rediscovering a simple solution that's been forgotten over time. And here's the real takeaway from the source material. The secret ingredient, this boric acid, it was never a secret at all. You can go buy it at the hardware store right now. It's been sitting there the whole time. The argument is that what we lost wasn't the powder itself, it was the confidence, the knowledge to use it on our own.
Now, we have to mention a really important caveat that the source itself points out. This DIY method is really for prevention or for catching an infestation early. If you've already got major structural damage, your floors feel spongy or door frames are warped, you absolutely need to get a professional to assess the damage first. This stuff might kill the termites, but it's not going to magically repair the wood they've already turned into lunch.
And that really leaves us with one last question to chew on, doesn't it? It's a pretty powerful idea. How many other simple, super effective, and cheap solutions to our big problems are just sitting there on a hardware store shelf, just waiting for us to find the confidence to pick them up and use them?